The Dead Sea is one of the great ecological treasures of the world, but for years there's been a fear that the sea might live up to its name and die as the countries of the Middle East drain the river system for precious drinking water. Now there is hope that that is about to change. Kevin Connolly reports.
The surface of the Dead Sea. It's the lowest point on the face of the Earth, and it's getting lower. The level of the dense, mineral-rich water is dropping at the rate of more than a metre a year.
100 years ago, British engineers marked the level of the waters of the Dead Sea here, high up on this rock. How much have things changed? Well, look how far the level has dropped over the course of a century, and is still dropping every single day.
As the waters retreat, thousands of sinkholes are forming. They're created when underground pockets of salt suddenly collapse. They give the landscape a kind of lunar beauty. But they can be bad for business. The buildings of this beach resort collapsed into a sinkhole last year, and now it's closed down. The effect? Like a slow-motion earthquake. Even the resorts that remain are struggling. When this one opened 30 years ago on the Israeli shore, the waves reached these beach umbrellas. Now it's a 2-kilometre ride on a tourist train to the water. And every holiday season, the sea retreats further, the ride gets longer, and the future seems more uncertain.
A bit of sad life in the last few years, because you see like your homeland or your home landscape going and disappear, shrinking, and you know that maybe you live for your children or grandchildren something that won't be like the place that you grow up in.
The tourists keep coming though. Some like the buoyancy of the super salty water. It's impossible to sink in it. Others even find something magical and maybe medicinal in the mud.
Actually, it's make you feel so good, free, stressless, like you living in another place with this mud.
The once mighty River Jordan was the Dead Sea's main source of water. Now it's dying itself as Israel, Jordan and Syria tap into the river systems of the Middle East to water their farms and feed their people. This building in a bone-dry landscape was once a hydroelectric power station, but the river that drove it has dried to a trickle. Jordan and Israel still evaporate the shrinking waters too for its valuable deposits of phosphates. The salt residues produce landscapes that are almost Arctic in the desert sun. A small group of Jordanian families has farmed here in this harsh landscape for generations. Now the ground is disintegrating beneath them as sinkholes appear here too.
حتى لو فاض البحر الميت وغمر الأرض وغمرنا فيها يغمرنا معها. عرفت كيف؟ لو فاض البحر الميت وصارت كلها سينكولز بنضل موجودين هون.
But where man does retreat, nature sometimes returns. Our cameras filming at the site of this camping ground, abandoned because of sinkholes only last year, caught a glimpse of this herd of ibex, a type of desert goat, moving back in. There is a plan to save the Dead Sea by piping water across the deserts to the south from the Red Sea. It will be expensive, but governments in the region say it's worth it, and it will happen. In the meantime, though, the sea continues to dwindle. Kevin Connolly, BBC News, at the Dead Sea.